Hey guys, Becca Scoops here. Thanks for joining me today. This is a little impromptu video to just go over some things that are so concerning in regards to Gypsy Rose Blanchard and her boyfriend slash baby daddy Ken Urker. When some of these things were first brought to my attention, I'm going to be honest, guys, I did not think there was much to them. I just thought, whatever, you know. What am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about Gypsy and Ken in their spare time, which they seem to have a lot of, going on this app called OMETV, OMETV, OMETV. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm just going to call it OMETV. Now, at first when I saw this, like I said, I didn't think, okay, so what? What is it? What is it? What is the big deal about them going on this app that is so concerning to some of the younger people in our community? When I say younger, I mean in their 30s and their 20s. Um, they have a perspective on it because they grew up in an era where some of these apps were being developed. And I guess this one is really bad. And now that I've done my research, I can come to you with this report, which we're going to go over now. And I'm not sensationalizing any of this. Okay. It is what it is, as Ryan Anderson says. And what can I say? I'm going to try to break it down so it makes sense. Whether you know a lot about Gypsy Rose Blanchard or you're new to the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case and you're just getting into it. So bear with me. What happened is that Gypsy and her baby daddy, Ken Urker, were caught on this app called OMETV. Here's a picture of Ken and Gypsy on this app that was captured by people who were on the app with them. And what is OME TV and why is it so dangerous? Well, let's look at that first. And then all of this is going to start to make sense. All right. So, in my research, what I found out from the Cyber Dive site is that this is a bad news app. Okay. It's frequented by teenagers, a lot of teenagers. Okay. Is it made for teenagers? No, it's not. You're not supposed to be a teenager or a minor and be on the app. But here's the problem, guys. The problem is they don't patrol it. There's no way to know. And the app basically doesn't care. So they say it's not for minors, but minors are using it a lot. Okay. I found this one clip, and if you go to this Cyberdive site, if you want to get really into the weeds about how bad this can be, let me just point out one thing on this, excuse me, on this that really got me quite concerned. It says OME TV can track your kid's location and so can strangers. And so that's concerning that your kid could be on this app. And what happens on this app, this isn't YouTube, this isn't TikTok, and anyone who is claiming that, oh, what's the big deal? This is just like YouTube or TikTok. I mean, the internet's dangerous, guys. You can't just, say that this app is more dangerous. Yeah, actually, we can. And here's why. If you look into this app, how it works is you go on the app, okay, probably on your phone, and you're like a teenager, you're like a kid. You could be 12 years old, 10 years old. And then it randomly matches you up with people. So you're not like even in a chat room or something. You're being face to face and it's at random who it hooks you up with. And you could see anything, whatever that person's doing, your kid could be exposed to. And here's a daughter was flashed on webcam. These are things about this. OME TV fell victim to sextortation on OME TV, feeling scared and suicidal, male victim. Okay. So if you want to go in depth, go to this Cyberdive website. It's really good information. It's a reputable source, and that's where I started my research on this part of the Gypsy Rose Blanchard story. It's an ever evolving story with Gypsy, isn't it? So she ends up going with Ken on this website here, and for a little bit more perspective on what this app does, I found this young lady on TikTok who I thought explained it quite well.
Are we surprised after writing Gypsy in prison? But why is Ken like this on Omegle, on OMTV? Why Ken have an account since he was in Texas? I mean, are we surprised after writing Gypsy in prison? I know I'm not surprised about Gypsy being in on it. I really am not. But we all know, like, I'm 29. Do not pee in my face and tell me it is raining. When I think of OMTV and Omegle, I think of being at a slumber party at 13 years old and getting on the laptop and seeing old men fucking off. That's what I think about. That's what every girl in my age group thinks about.
Okay, so this is really interesting, right? So, see, this is a perspective I wouldn't have, at my age. I didn't grow up with these kind of things. So, Gypsy would know about this. This girl says she's 29, 30 years old. Gypsy's what, 33, 34. So in the same, age, grew up at the same era. And we know that Gypsy was heavily, heavily, heavily influenced by the internet. And so this girl is like, yeah, I know about this. Now she's talking about Omegle TV, which is no longer an app. Okay, because another thing that the Gypsy stands are saying is that, well, no, Omegle TV, that's not even a thing anymore. That doesn't even exist. No, you're right, it doesn't exist. But OME TV basically is the new Omegle TV. Okay. One went away and another one took its place. Okay. So, come on. It's the same thing. Um, so I guess Ken and Gypsy, not well, I don't guess. I know because there is one of these people that they interacted with. Um, let me show you this first.
Your story when you said that these people are
Okay. Here's a picture of Gypsy, and I'm sorry about, I'm just making this impromptu video. It's not polished, but I just wanted to get all of the information out to you. So here's Gypsy, and here's these two. These don't look like adults to me. These aren't adults. Pretty sure. I mean, to say that they're 18 would be stretching it. I don't know, but let's listen to what this person has to say.
You deleted your story when you said that these people are 18 plus that you talk with, and you did a mic drop. And then, what's funny is I did a video and said as if a 30-something-year-old should be talking with 18-year-olds. And then you deleted your story because you knew what you said was wrong.
So what this woman is talking about, a story, is a TikTok story. Gypsy had put out an actual mic drop, like a mic, and then drop after it. Like she was saying that everybody that was reporting on this case was wrong, that she's not talking to teenagers. She would never talk to a minor on there. And then this image surfaces. And that's what this woman is talking about, that Gypsy had put out a mic drop moment, meaning gotcha moment. You guys are ridiculous, thinking I would talk to minors on the internet. And then this picture of Gypsy allegedly talking to minors surfaces. Okay. Now, in addition to that image, a video is surfaced and is going around of the one woman and her brothers who were minors, who were actually conversing with Gypsy and Ken. And so let's listen to that.
And we were on this app with Gypsy Rose and Ken. My brother went to ask them a question. Ken and Gypsy said, "What's up?" As you can see, I'm shocked because
So just to set this up, you see down here in the corner, the woman here with the light hair, blonde hair, and I guess this is her brother with sunglasses. You're gonna watch how Gypsy and Ken's got these two fingers up when he's interacting with them. Okay, so that's the setup here. Let me back it up again.
and we were on this app with Gypsy Rose and Ken.
The other thing I want to point out is you saw how there was another gentleman on the screen with them, and then so this is what it looks like how you're paired up. You know, they're down here on the bottom, and then on the top, the app will pair you with just random people, and that's when Gypsy and Ken. This is when Gypsy and Ken then popped up on their app on the screen with them.
My brother went to ask them a question. Ken and Gypsy said, "What's up?" As you can see, I'm shocked.
I want you to see there how Ken. This is at the point where he puts the two fingers up. Is he putting two fingers up, or is he just holding his vape and is got his two fingers like that, which is a little weird. So let's back up. So there you see this is what it looks like, and now Ken and Gypsy are going to come and interact with them, or are going to be paired with them on this OMTV app.
This app with Gypsy
Watch
Rose and
Ken.
My brother went to ask them a question. Ken and Gypsy said, "What's up?"
The fingers.
As you can see, I'm shocked because I didn't realize, but then when I did, I showed my brothers and asked them if they knew who she was. They both said no. Here's my other brother saying no, he has no idea. After this, I'm like, "Hi." She says hi back. I ask her to tell my brothers who she is, and she swiped on us. At the very beginning, you can see it's Ken's profile from Dallas. He's no longer in Dallas, so he's had this account for a long time. I want to clarify that I am 19. My brothers are both underage. If you look closely, you can see the vape in Ken's.
So right there, they cannot deny that they have interacted with minors on the internet. Did they know they were minors? No, I'm not saying that Gypsy and Ken knew, that they were minors. The point is they're on this app that is known for this type of thing, that teens, preteens and teens are on this app. That's what it's known for. And yet here they are on it. And this is the second piece of evidence that I've seen that they're interacted with minors. The first one was that picture of them with those two girls that were definitely teenagers. I do not believe that they are adults. They do not look like adults. And now here they are on this app. Now, this woman who is 19, she is a young adult. She has just told us that her brothers are minors.
Hand and the two fingers he's holding up. If you don't know what the two fingers mean, you should go and look it up. They didn't say anything inappropriate, and they were perfectly fine, but they just seemed awkward. And she seemed to love the attention that we gave her, but I was honestly just more surprised that she was on here than anything. He's still holding up his two fingers, but when I turn the screen to show my brother, he takes them down real quick. Also, when I turn the camera to show my brother, look at the way, watch his eyes. His eyes go up and down. Right there. Down and up. I just found that super awkward. And here I am acting surprised and saying hi again, and then she replies hi. And then I ask her to tell my brothers who she is, and she swiped. So, I do want to restate that they said nothing inappropriate. We were just going to ask them a question. I stopped my brother and asked him if she knew, or if he knew who she was, and he said no. And then I showed my other brother, he said no.
It's really disturbing. I'm going to be honest. When people ask me, why are you still covering Gypsy? Why are you still involved in this case? And to me, it's always been, this is what I've been frightened of, that her making a family vlogging channel, her being on the internet and engaging with young people has always been the thing that I thought of immediately when she got out of prison, that even drove me toward the case, because I was shocked by how, when she got out of prison, all of these young adults and teenagers were going, "Slay Queen, she's so great. She's so," I was shocked by that. I was shocked that they were taking this mommy murderer and glorifying her. And it really wasn't their fault. It was the mainstream media who were hyping up her image. And so I became very concerned, and that's what got me initially into the case. And here I am over a year later, still into it, and all of these things are coming to fruition that brought me to the case that frightened me in the first place. Yeah, it's disturbing. Now, the two fingers thing is interesting. I totally dismiss that also, because the kind of person I am a skeptic. I don't believe anything until it's proven to me. And so, and I get frustrated sometimes because a lot of people love conspiracies, and I like a good conspiracy theory, but to be totally honest, no, I'm a skeptic usually, and you got to show me, you got to show me. I need to see the evidence. I've watched it several times, the clip of him putting up the fingers and all of that. What do I think about it? I'm not sure. I get what everyone's saying. What Well, if you don't know, and the other thing that got me very concerned was her shirt. So, when I used to work in psych, as a psychiatric nurse, um, I worked in the psychiatric ER emergency room. And yeah, some hospitals are so big that they actually have a separate emergency room for psychiatric cases. And I worked there quite often. And so we had to be schooled on things that predators would do to victims of sexual assault, especially teenagers. And so I had to get schooled in the lingo, and when I saw that shirt, let me just show you. I learned this a long time ago, just because I was working in the psych ER, and like I said, the law enforcement would bring in cases of, we would have to assess to see if children, even adults were, we had to take the case if they were sexually assaulted, and we had to, do the assessment on that. And so I had to learn this kind of stuff. And so when I saw her wearing this shirt in this video, um, yeah. And then I saw Lori, the dream expert, who I'm gonna show you next, who also reinforced what I thought about this. So let's bring her up. Lori, the dream expert on YouTube. If you don't know, she's great. She's really, really intelligent lady. I like her style. So let's see what she has to say about this situation.
Well, just as we all suspected, Gypsy and Ken were up to no good over on that OMTV app. Internet sleuths have uncovered the meaning of that hand signal that Ken was doing. And apparently, it means that they are a couple looking for a third. Now, this is speculation, of course, and you can argue that people are getting carried away with it, that this is a stretch, were it not for the fact that Gypsy was wearing a taco t-shirt. Now, if you don't know what taco is slang for, well, let's just say it's where Gypsy likes to put her electric toothbrush. I know.
Thanks, Lori. Yeah, I like her so much. And so when I saw her, an intelligent woman, also verifying what I knew, what I've known for, over 30 years, that, this is what it's slang for, and that she's wearing that on that. Is it coincidence? Sure, it could be a coincidence. Him putting his fingers up like that could be a coincidence. It could be nothing, right? And I hear all what you're saying out there, like, no, 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 but it's true. I hear you. I hear you. I just play devil's advocate. I'm presenting the facts. I leave it to my viewers who are very smart to make up their own minds. Okay. I'm not trying to sway you one way or the other. I'm just trying to show you the facts. Sometimes, and a lot of times, yeah, I do give my opinion also, you know, I do. But on this, what I'm telling you is you make up your own mind. You decide for yourself. What were they doing, over there on that OME TV? Now, Gypsy is continuing to pump up her family vlogging channel. Super concerning. It's continuing to grow. Last count, I think they had 23,000 followers. And yeah, because she's got 9 million followers on TikTok and she keeps promoting it. So people are going to go over there. Now a lot of people have speculated that some of that 9 million Gypsy has can be, bots that she paid for. I don't know. But the truth is she does have quite a few followers on TikTok, and they're coming over to YouTube. Now YouTube's a whole different beast to make it on YouTube. I don't know, but it's concerning that she's continuing to promote this. So at the same time she's promoting this, my point is she's over on that OME TV trying to engage with minors, it seems like. I don't know what that's what the app's known for. You can't refute that. Is it made for minors? No, again, no, it's not. But it's become a haven for them, okay? And no one's policing it to make sure that minors aren't accessing it. That's the point. That's why it ended up in different, like on the cyber dive site, as a huge problem. And Gypsy's out there continuing to promote her family vlogging channel. So, I just find it ironic that we're doing this. And why are we doing this? What is the point? What is going on with Gypsy? Well, folks, Gypsy isn't difficult to figure out if you've studied her as long as I have. And I'm going to tell you my take on what exactly is going on here. Okay. First, I want to show you this. And for most of you that have, been in the Gypsy verse for a long time, you know that Gypsy used to dress up in characters. And one of them, this top one here, it says, "I'm sorry, Daddy" on it. That was her kitty character. And so she was into that kind of cosplay. These were her alter egos. And this all of this was a sexual alter egos. These are all sexual alter egos. Okay. So Kitty was one of them. This little girl thing, she did this little girl texting with Nick. We know that. So that was a something she enjoyed. And yeah, we can't deny that. We also can't deny this. For a long time, I didn't want to even believe this, but it's true. And what am I talking about? This is a highlighted portion of the police report. In one of the videos, Gypsy, it says Damona's anniversary video. Gypsy introduces herself as Damona. She talked about being in love with him. This is to Nick, and how she wanted them to live together away from other people. She talked about having children with Nicholas. She said they would have to teach and educate their children what not to say in public to keep him being a vampire a secret. Let me just stop there for a minute before I get to the really highlighted, disgusting portion. Now, lately, all of this Gypsy being highly into Twilight has come out. We touched on that in our last video. And so, to me, that just reinforces that this whole thing about being a vampire probably wasn't Nick's idea. It was probably Gypsy's idea, because even before Nick, her first boyfriend that we know of, Dan Glidewell, dressed up as a vampire. He had the vampire thing going on and in their cosplay and their sexual role playing. So, so this part about they have to keep it on the down low of him being a vampire a secret. Now here comes the part that is really, really, really disturbing. If they had a girl, then their daughter had to lose her virginity to Nicholas because he would be the master of the household. She said when she turned 13, she would explain this to their daughter and why she had to give her virginity to Nicholas. They talked about how she was Nicholas's slave and he could have her anytime he wanted. Now, Gypsy's response, I don't know if she's directly ever talked about this point, but to her, I know how she thinks, and to her, and her excuse is that it was never her. These ideas were never her ideas. Even though she's on video doing this, remember what she says is that he would give her screenplays and she would just act them out. Do you believe that? Do you believe that this was Nicholas's thoughts and that Gypsy was just acting them out? How much of this was Gypsy? You tell me, because we see her dressing up, little girl. This is the kitty persona, little girl. And then we also can hear her, how she talks to her father, calling him daddy. And that's not an adult relationship. She very much wants to be the little girl with her father still, her daddy. Okay. Now, I used to call my dad daddy, but I also called him dad, when I got older, called him dad. Sometimes I called him daddy still, I'll be honest, but not in the way she calls him daddy. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, she's got a problem with the daddy image. And I think that has somehow got twisted within her sexual role playing, to be honest. It's my opinion. I can't prove that, but I think that. And I'm basing that on things I've read about studying her in this case for over a year and a half. The other things I wanted to point out when it comes to Gypsy and why. Let me go to this. Last night, Ryan Anderson held this long live that was mostly boring, but I wanted to highlight this portion of what he said. And then let's take a look at this and then I'll commentate on it.
I just want y'all to know that. Okay? I want y'all to know Aurora's a sweet, innocent baby, and I would do nothing to hurt her. Let me tell y'all this. Ken dislikes me so much that he once told Gypsy that if they split up, Gypsy could not be with me or he would threaten to take Aurora away. Okay? That's how controlling he is. Okay? So, y'all just remember that. And that's one reason I don't like him. He has threatened custody over her so many times since Aurora's born. How old is Aurora? 5 months? Not even 6 months. So I do not like him for many reasons, but one of them is because he even told her, if they split up, you cannot be with Ryan or I will get sole custody. Like I don't like him for that. I don't like him for the fact that he calls her names. I don't like him for the fact that just his face. I don't like his face. And he called me a petty ass bitch on national television. Dude, you would not say that to my face. You would not say that to my face. All right? We both know that you couldn't run away from me. All right? We've seen the video. We both know you couldn't run away, but you would not say that to my face.
Okay. So the main takeaway here is, and then he's gonna, get all macho and say, "Oh, you can't run away," and it's because Ken doesn't run right; he runs funny. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Um, that Ryan is saying here, and I think everything that Ryan says probably has a lot of truth to it. And what he's saying here is that Ken has many times, not once. We saw once on during the Lifetime series, but many times has threatened to take custody of Aurora away from Gypsy. I find that pretty interesting. I find that credible. I think that's probably true. That I think the problem here is Gypsy wants a Disney romance. Gypsy wants the Twilight. She wants to be Bella. She wants a Jacob and an Edward fighting over her. That makes her feel good. She likes it. She fuels it. She seeks it out. She wants the triangle. She doesn't go away from the triangle. She wants it. Okay. And this is part of it. This is why Ken probably as many times said this, because she's been playing this game of Ryan versus Ken for over a year now, since she got out of prison. She's been playing the game of Ryan versus Ken, and this will be her hallmark her whole life. Whether these two gentlemen are involved in it, I don't know. She'll probably move on to others, but you will see it over a pattern with her over and over and over again. And the pattern will be she will be the Bella in between the Edward and the Jacob. Okay. She loves it. She lives for it and she wants it. And she's very, very unrealistic when it comes to romantic relationships. I think that's pretty safe to say. And there were a few clips that I wanted to bring up. I have to be really careful of copyright here, but there was a few clips I wanted to bring out in her Lifetime series where she's complaining. And one of them, she's complaining that her and Ken haven't been together, physically, intimately, you know what I mean, in the bedroom. And this is right after she had the baby. I have to be very careful about playing it. I think it's this one. Hold on.
Words of affirmation. For Ken, it's like,
okay, so yeah, this is it. I'm not going to play much more of it because I've got to be really careful. But here she is. You see, she's just had the baby, and she starts complaining about they're not intimate together. Ken isn't. Just listen to them.
he doesn't think about anything like that. I don't get it.
Okay, there's that weird list, the signs that she has up all over. Just so this is a whole other video. This whole daycare thing. I'm just gonna move it forward here. So here's the baby. The baby's really little. Here she's talking about how her and Ken haven't been intimate. And then she says this. He thinks everything's fine. Yeah, he thinks everything's fine because you've just had a baby. He's going back to work. It's a stressful time. You're a brand new mother. And what's she worried about? She's worried about their sex life. It is bizarre, you guys. I'm telling you, it's bizarre. And why I bring this up is because I don't know how this ties into the OMTV, them going on that web, that app. Was it his wish to go on it? Was it her wish to go on it? Was it their joint decision together? And what was the purpose of them going on it? I know what she's very preoccupied with, though. She's very preoccupied with their sex life. And it's bizarre. It's always been very bizarre to me, but it's something I have to point out because she is motivated by this. All right. After this point, now look, come on. The other thing is when you're a new mother, when you're a brand new mother and it's your first baby, the last thing you're worried about is your sex life. But she is. It's her number one concern, and she's upset about it. Then during the Lifetime thing, because Gypsy can't help herself and she has to give too much information, she says this.
First time in a long time last night, and I think that helped.
So here she says it was the first time. This was the first time they see how happy she is. She's telling the Lifetime producers they did it. They finally did it. It was so much. It was long. See how little the baby. Long time coming, but he finally did it with her, and she's so happy here because of that. The other thing I wanted to point out, and I'm trying to prove to you how it's her theme, that this is what motivates this woman, is these romantic relationships. But Gypsy confuses romantic relationships with having sexual intercourse. She thinks they're the same thing, and they're not. And she has never figured out, she has never matured past, I'm going to say past 15 years old. She is stuck. Her mind is like a 15-year-old's mind. And yes, she is antisocial personality disorder. That's not me saying it. That's Dr. Mark Feldman saying it, a forensic psychiatrist who Gypsy herself quotes, who has been in Gypsy's documentaries. I have that in my videos also. Okay. So, yes, she's a malignant narcissist. That's not me saying it either. Okay. But because allegedly she is these two things, and then she's got this weird stuff sexually that goes on, okay, with her wanting to be in a triangle, wanting to be the Bella, to the Edward and the Jacob and I'm Switzerland and the whole thing, okay? This will be the downfall of this relationship. At some point, Ken, and he's already threatened several times, like Ryan says, to take the baby. He will leave her. I don't know if it's going to be this year or next year, but that's going to happen because no one is going to be able. She has a very unrealistic view of life and of having a partner. Okay. And so this will be constant. She's constantly needing affirmation. She even says it. Herself. Let me see this.
Emotionally
Which one?
taxing I am.
How emotionally taxing I am. See, Gypsy always tells on herself. She always tells on herself, guys. And so this, why I'm showing you this, as I'm showing you, this is the milieu, this is the environment they live in. Okay. And then you see them on this OMTV. You tell me, what is that about? What are they trying to do on OMTV? Did it have something to do with their family vlog? Obviously, they didn't think they were going to get caught being on that app, but they were caught being on that app, weren't they? I think there's one more thing I wanted to show you. Yes. Just so she can't say that she was not on the app or that she was not talking to people. Here's Gypsy. Here is a screenshot. It was so nice meeting you on OMTV earlier today. I was with the girl who fell out of the chair. This was to Gypsy Rose. Shout out to the amazing fans we met yesterday. Thank you all for the support. Okay. So Gypsy's admitting it. She's admitting the amazing fans we met yesterday. So that's what I mean. Are they going on there to try to get younger kids to their family vlogging channel? Or was there something way more nefarious with Ken's fingers, the taco shirt, and all that? That's the question of the day. That might be the question of the year with these two. If they're not careful, I don't know, they may be at some point getting into some legal trouble or trouble with law enforcement if they're not careful, because I do think I just don't know why they would go on that app. It's just yeah. Very, very, these minors here, just so concerning. All right, guys, I've been talking at you for about 30 minutes, and I decided we needed a palate cleanser at the end of this little kitty here. I need a palate cleanser anytime I talk about Gypsy and her sex life. and all of that. You just feel the ick on you and you just want the ick out of your mind and you need a little mental palate cleanser. And it's this. This is my screenshot for you guys to just take a deep breath, breathe in, breathe out. It's going to be okay. Yeah, we'll get past all of this at some point, I think. But that's it for me for now. I want to thank you guys for being here with me. Mitch and I will be going live within the next few days. So stay tuned for that. Look for that. Make sure you've got your notification on. If you're not subscribed to our channel, please consider subbing us. We appreciate it. And thank you so much, guys. I love you. Bye bye.